6:30 when we'll actually go live and start our event. Enjoy your breakfast. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Member of Parliament, Kabera Maido, Alfred Edakasi, retired General Mugisha Muntu, our very dearly invited guests, our amazing watch parties and people watching online from both within Uganda and across the region. Our invited guests, we welcome you to the 14th AYLF Gathering. We are happy to have all of you here, especially our viewers online. I hope everyone is doing okay wherever they are, and you're feeling good and feeling excited for this event, because I know I am. So my name is Faiza Nuruddin Aikoru. I am the Programs Coordinator, Africa Youth Leadership Forum, and I will be your MC for today. Before we go any further, I'd like us to just observe our usual culture that we enjoy. We'd like to start with an opening prayer, and I'd like to invite Mr. Nathan Onyango, our country coordinator. Very interesting gentleman, exciting. Please come and give us the opening prayer.
All right, just want to ask each and every one of us, our guests, to find a seat, because we have started. Let's pray. Loving Jesus, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for the very many people who are gathered here, but also those who are gathered in all the 7-8 countries of Eastern Africa, and all the young leaders who are watching from many cities in this country. Thank you for their lives and their dedication towards leadership. And Jesus, we look to you not only to guide, but also to direct us today. Everything that's going to happen here, may it glorify you. And as leaders, may we grow, may we be encouraged, may we be strengthened, may we be equipped and empowered to continue on this journey. In Jesus' name we prayed and believed. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nathan. I believe our event is now blessed. So just to give you a small brief about AYLF. Now, AYLF is acronym for Africa Youth Leadership Forum, and we, the nurturing a new breed of leaders in Africa is the main goal. I personally just interacted with AYLF a couple of years ago, 2018. I was the guild president, Islamic University in Uganda, and I have walked the journey with AYLF since then till date. We continue to do the leadership training and development in the various universities all over Uganda and across the borders. In Uganda, we are in about 21 universities carrying out these different trainings, passing on the message. There's peer-to-peer mentorship. We have various programs, seminars, workshops like these ones. And today, this is just the 14th Africa Youth Leadership Forum Gathering. This is an event that usually coincides with the National Prayer Breakfast, and we are actually having this event today. We usually have it it's usually not an online event, but due to COVID, of course, we are having it online this time, and just a few people are here present with us, and we are very honored to have all 500 of you that are watching within Uganda and across the borders. I will invite the regional coordinator, Mr. Alan Shepherd, to just give welcoming remarks and also possibly invite our next speaker. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Faiza. And the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament in his absentia. We know he's on his way. Our friend and brother, MP Kabira Maido, Alfred Dakasi, who is already here with us. Our good friend from as far as 2009, when AYLF was starting its very first small group. Retired General Mugisha Muntu used to come to speak to a small group then. He's in the house. And all of you friends and co-founders, co-founding members of AYLF, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. This is a very small event we are hosting on behalf of the Speaker of Parliament, because these activities are part of the prayer breakfast week in Uganda, which will happen tomorrow, and some of you will have a chance to go to the prayer breakfast, and others will watch it online. So this event for us is a culmination, a celebration of very serious, good work that is happening in Uganda, where we have dedicated ourselves since 2007 to invest time, thought, resources, and belief in nurturing student leaders in universities. Our first very small group was in Makerere University, and founding members, those founding members, I am one of them, and our good friend Taebo Andrew is also here as a founding member of that small group. Our idea is that while leadership on university is channeled to us through elective processes or appointment, or your friends say be our leader, when we were students realized that honestly there was no process of deliberate, someone taking serious intention to invest in us understanding what is this animal called leadership. And we know that while some of us leadership comes naturally and we quickly take over, others have to learn. And that process, we needed to merge it. Those of us that grab it, and those of us that need time to be shown the way through training, through mentoring, through coaching, needed to get space. So AYLF is an opportunity that came through again from students. And here we are. Today we are privileged to be able to reach in 7 countries actively with these small groups on over 130 universities. This morning I know that people are tuned in on our YouTube channel for Uganda, AYLF, watching us from Kigali, from Nairobi, from Arusha, from Uvira. That's a town on Lake Tanganyika, the border of Burundi and DRC. They are in Bunia. We have friends in Beni, a town really disturbed by ADF rebels, in Butembo, and in Goma. And I know there are friends in Addis Ababa also trying to join us this morning. Recently, some friends from Somalia found me online. They said, we want this in our country. And we are making efforts. We invited them. We hope they have joined us. So for us, we have decided that whoever will see this movement as a resource for empowering students at that critical stage of their leadership development at university should take it, and you like it, you give it to another group of people. So we want to appreciate an army of volunteers that are dedicated to making sure that our small groups happen on a weekly or bi-weekly or bi-monthly basis. And serious engagement that happens in all those countries thanks to the leadership teams of country coordinators and their core teams and places that you cannot imagine. I recently was speaking to our friends from DRC, and one of them told me, I came to the gathering once. I liked it. Now I'm in a city called Kalemi, and I am happy to start an AYLF chapter here because there are many colleges and universities who have never had an opportunity to interact with leadership seriously. So I asked my friends, how far is Kalemi from our coordinating city in Goma? He told me it will take you 2 days to reach there by by road. And so I just asked him, can you describe to me what does that take? It means that during the the sunny season, it's 2 hours, it's 2 days. But when it rains, it will take you a week or so. I asked him why. He said the roads are not really good. But when you ask me how come that student has gone as far as Kalemi, when he goes and starts the chapter, brings other student leaders together, our goal is to try and change the leadership culture of individuals, but also of our communities. That's our commitment. And that leadership culture should be based on values and transformative leadership. And when people go through our program, by the time they get opportunities to channel their efforts in growing, at least they've got the first seed of values of leadership based on character, and that should give them a basis on which to begin, the foundation really, on which to build their house of leadership as they continue. So friends that are joining us online, I want to look into this camera and welcome you wherever you are. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to being with you. I said a few things about AYLF in terms of why we set it up, and for me, I feel there's been a reward. I was telling someone who asked me, so how far have you gone? We are very privileged this morning to say in Uganda, where the movement started, we already have members of parliament in this country that are alumni of this movement. And we know others, friends who have tried, but we know that they will be there at some point. So, but also we know it's just not politics, but also other spheres of leadership in this country. And some of our friends are actively participating in politics, in civil society, in business, others are in education and wherever. And we pride in the fact that they are the salt and the light wherever they are. And we just want to celebrate them. We just want to continue to encourage even students who are here representing others, and to appreciate them. Quickly before I talked about students watching and participating in this event from the other countries, but I also know here in Uganda, Faiza talked about it, but we have people, even down here, you got a street in Kololo, seated there looking forward to being part of this. We have people in Lira, in Barara, in Masaka. We have people in Bali really participating in this event. So for us, this is an opportunity to try and grow. That even during the pandemic in 2020, we were shell-shocked that we will not be meeting. But as wisdom is available to us, we quickly retreated and said, what do we do? But we have our people out there. We looked at the resources available to us, technology, and really moved very fast and put everything online. So now students can continue interacting in their small groups, continue to study their leadership classes online, and be able to participate and graduate from our various student leadership development programs online. And that's the joy we have even this morning, that we can do this event online and be able to do it successfully. So our second year running, last year we did it at one of the hotels in Kampala, in uptown, and today we are here again joining others. So thank you guys, thank you AYLF-Uganda team for making sure this happens. On behalf of all the other friends from the region, we appreciate you, Nathan, and your core team. Thank you so much for making sure that this is happening. So please give them a hand. And because this is an event of the prayer breakfast, is an event of the Speaker of Parliament, our job is really, I know, is to make sure it happens. And we are just laying a hand and an effort to make sure that the event is in the hands of the Speaker, is in the hands of the Parliamentary Prayer Breakfast Group, and we are really honored to be able to make sure that it is happening. So I want to take this opportunity and take my seat back and invite, I don't know whether I still have a few minutes, but let me recognize my old team, right? Hey, founding members. Please stand and we give you an applause I know Alfred Edakasi MP Kabira Maido. You were founding coordinator of this movement around in Uganda. Thank you, Alfred, for being here. Yes. Where is Andrew, Josephat, Philip Ojok? You are founding members of... Please, you stand and take them. Yes, you are founding members. So thank you. One interesting thing about Africa Youth Leadership Forum is our intention is nurturing the idea of intentionally investing in relationships. Friendships, alliances that will help you to keep yourself accountable, but also to help you grow and continue to become a better person. So some of those guys you see here is not because maybe we do chicken business together or do any other thing. It's because we have chosen to be friends for a long time. So there's a next generation there of people. I think Alan Sentam, when we left, you joined with your group. Do you have members from your alumni that time? You were alone? You've come alone today? You have come alone today. Okay, I think you received the invitation for coming alone. But we continue to build on to those generations to keep growing and becoming better. So please feel free to enjoy our magazine that is around there. They have given you. Support us. Support AYLF-Uganda team. They have memorabilia there. You can take a lapel pin and put it on your beautiful jacket. And when they ask you, you say this is a student leadership development program. Some of you that are here, like I've seen our friend Isabella speaking to our leadership conversation forums last year, and this year she was also there. We want to let you know that thank you for that investment that you are making of sharing your knowledge and wisdom with the students. And all of you, our guests that are coming to speak to us today, we appreciate. I received feedback, by the way, from our regional teams that they enjoyed the conversation that happened yesterday. The MC was superb. They said the speakers really spoke not from book knowledge, but they spoke from their heart. And in our community, we emphasize speak from your heart, your experiences. Otherwise, if you want book knowledge, you will get it on Google. But when you speak from your heart, you mentor, you teach, you coach, you share your life. And that is something that the community, even guys who struggle with the English in Congo, they told me, yes, we got the message because we have to do an interpreter in a community like that. So even today, for those of you who will be speaking, there will be somebody to paraphrase, what did they say in Uganda? Because when we also go there, people have to interpret back this way so that we can. But one of the things we have done also with AYLF is to build a community around this Great Lakes region of leaders. I normally challenge myself and say, maybe 10, 15 years from now, we will have leaders in this community that have seen them, have been together for 20 years. They know each other, how they think, how they handle issues, because they have interacted with a similar philosophy, similar vision, simply because we have invested time in being with the student leaders in the universities. So I want to take this opportunity and end my remarks here. And I know I stayed here because it was very important for me to let you know about AYLF. When you read through our magazine, you will discover that we talk about the issue of Jesus. And Faiza, who was here, would ask, why would that happen? So the first time I went to IUIU, they asked me that question. And thank God Matanda is here when he was guild president that time. I explained to him and said, I leave that issue of theology to the pastors and other religious leaders. But the issue of lifting up the idea of Jesus' style of leadership based on those values is what our communities need. They don't need the theology of our faith traditions. They need to see the idea and the philosophy of Jesus on how to live our lives and how he teaches leadership. And so we are AYLF, we are very open. We talk about it, but we leave the issue of theology to those that have the experience, and we focus on making sure that the principles and the values we take away from his teachings form core of our philosophy of leadership. So I really want to appreciate you all for coming today. I hope you can take time. I know Nathan has told me there is lunch, so if you have already enjoyed your breakfast, please stay. For you guys online, I know that you also have watch parties wherever you are. Enjoy the fellowship, the Africa Youth Leadership Forum way. When we meet, we do the following. We pray together, we eat together, and we make friendship together. So enjoy today, and I look forward to continued interaction online and physically here. I want to hand back over to you, Faiza, please. You would like me to take the privilege, okay. So, Honorable Alfred, I was told according to the program I should ask you to come and share your experiences and some stories about why AYLF. I know you'll take on from where I have stopped, but I want to invite you, my brother and friend, Honorable Alfred Edakasi, you come and share a few things and speak to the community online, if that's okay with you already. Please, together, let's invite him.
I think that you represent quite a number of people who have followed our vision of transformation to date. And I thank you so much for honoring our invitation and joining us today. And thank you, Abubakar, also for coming alongside, alongside the General. I know that you are an insider here, but also in that capacity at Alliance, we welcome you. May I also just thank you, the Africa Youth Leadership Forum members, especially the alumni who are present here. Thank you for making it today. It's a great pleasure for me to be joining all of you here and online, just to come as an encouragement to what we are all doing in Africa. I hope you realize that what we started a couple of years ago is impacting our lives first and also impacting the lives of others. I can tell you that when we walked into Makerere in 2007 with Alan, we did not know what it would look like. But the likes of Philip, Lucas Enyaga had already put into place the frameworks that would bring what Africa Youth Leadership Forum would be. What awaited in 2007 was the implementation. And I'd like to applaud Alan for having stood the last 15 years on this thing. Let us all just clap for Alan. Wherever you are in Beni, you guys know how Alan roams this region for this vision. And Alan, I believe you have become who you have become, partly also because of AYLF. And my colleague Flavia, I think was here yesterday, Honorable Flavia Nakarule, was with us in 2007. And Jasper, who's now council, was also with us. Andrew, and the rest of the crew that are not here. We thank you all for making time to come and be with us. To see this vision now in 130 universities and in 7 countries in Africa is something of prayer. And I hope that those of us seated here realize that we are not just passing time, that we are actually creating an impact. Because that it's important to note that, because if we don't, then we don't give it the passion that it deserves. And those of Alan and the rest of the staff for all over these 7 countries have demonstrated to us that this whole thing works. So who are we? If you read throughout all our documents, you will find statements like, we are youth leader, AYLF are a collaborative initiative conceptualized here in Africa. And we are standing for a couple of things. One, it is our dream that the leaders in Africa will know how to reconcile relationships. And 2, they will learn to speak truth without being religious or divisive. And 3, that they will see people without labels or stereotypes. You will recall that in 2007, it was our aim to deal with these divisions that have been perennial here in Africa. You could almost say all the civil conflicts around Africa relate around these things. They rotate around religious divisions. They rotate around labels and stereotypes. And they are always dressed in political gowns, but ideally they are embedded on the divisions that are found from these trends. And I thank AYLF for focusing on this as a way of reaching out to young people on campus. And I applaud all of you seated here and wherever you are seated today, that as we gather around this time, that we remember that these same things are still alive in Africa. That in Africa, we still have relationships to reconcile. Even just the region, our own region of 7 countries, which is mostly populated by young people, we still have older people who keep this region divided. And I hope that we can demonstrate something different years from now. And even right now, that we can demonstrate something different on campus. That we will learn to say the truth with respect. That will not mix the truth because we want to be politically correct or religiously correct. That will treat the truth as the ultimate truth and deal with the wounds that have caused us pain over these years and speak the truth to those wounds. If we do that, then Africa has hope. And our countries will have hope. That we will begin to see people for what God has made them to be, for who God has made them to be, and not see colors. See them because they have blood like we have blood. See them because they have a place to go to called home, and we have a place called home to go to. See them as those who have children because we have children. See them like they are our sisters because we have sisters. If we do that, it will enable us to treat well those for whom God has surrounded us with as neighbors. We also say that the AYLF is a collaborative initiative. That is why we work together with institutions. So as a student, you work with students. As a staff worker of AYLF, you are working with the staff at the university. As leaders, student leaders, you are also connected to the leaders in parliament and the leaders in the marketplace. And we have continuously done this with the hope that leadership will be founded on truth and not fear. That we can all begin to mentor each other at various levels. And I think that, Honorable Muntu, you have demonstrated that. Some leaders have come to this forum and run away because of fear, because they operate from a point of scarcity and a point of instability. But for those of us who have seen that the world is bigger than all of us, and the world has more than any one of us as individuals could ever take to ourselves, we see working with others as a way of promoting peace, as a way of promoting progress, and as a way of enriching community. So colors, political colors, religious differences, do not in any way and cannot interfere with this journey that we started 14 years ago. And today as we come, I hope that you embrace that. You begin to look more, those of you who are new, you begin to look more of new ways in which you can operate in that way. Up to today, I'm a Christian, but I meet with several Muslim young people to do scriptural study, let alone just meeting over bread, let alone meeting on table to eat, but actually to share different values. The Quran teaches about love, and the Bible teaches about love. So at least we find one commonality there. We as Christians and Muslims, we share a lot more. The entire Old Testament is a testament that we both share. There may be differences in names that are put there, but the history is the same. And the people both scriptures mean to refer to are the same. So we have so much in common than that which divides us. And I think if we focus on what can bring us together, then we have a better world to live to in this particular region. And we have a better future together. We would be much stronger together if we can take on that terrain with a unified force. So I hope that we will all begin to focus again. Even this year with the effects of COVID, we have tried in some ways to congregate, to gather in small groups, just so we can deepen this very understanding. The aim of AYLF has been to nurture a breed of leaders, and I call them transformational servant leaders. The word transformation is very pertinent for me there, because it's not temporal. It's not about just today. It takes time. It's about being there for others for a long haul, not just visiting. So AYLF is not just a program. It's not just a project. It is actually a way in which we live our lives. So we've learned to live our lives across this region as those who come from one family. And that has been our aim from the very beginning. And we hope that we can increase numbers. We can grow more numbers of people who would like to change this particular part of the world. We are also thinking about new breed of leaders. In other words, a mix, a hybrid, away from the people who thought one color, away from the people who thought one religious group, away from people who are operating from a competitive approach towards a more collaborative, a more complementary approach. And we think that if we do that, our countries will have a lot more to gain from in terms of trade, in terms of political unity, in terms of religious progress. We can do all this if our people can work together. And those of us who are leaders, and indeed, from wherever you are seated, you are leaders. Even by the fact that you made it to this group, it's actually a demonstration that you are a leader. And you should therefore focus on transformation. The other word we use there is servant leaders, that I'll talk about a little bit more in the next couple of minutes. But it's also about service. It's about giving ourselves to it. And all of you, I congratulate all of you across the region who have worked these couple of years trying to bring Africa together. At least this part of Eastern Africa, we've tried to bring it together among young people. And I say now to you from wherever you are, that we are not the leaders of tomorrow. We are leaders now. In this region where we live, we are the majority. We need to be heard. And for us to be heard, it is not about shouting. It's about the quality of our character opening the way for us. The quality of our competencies opening the way for us. And technology lends itself very close to young people across the region. And I hope that you can embrace it as part of leveraging on your youthfulness. So it is our aim that we will transform the cultures of our community and reach out to those communities. Why do we focus on leaders? From 2007, we could see that the population demographics of Africa were increasingly becoming younger, and they have been so for these years. So the future of Africa is actually in the hands of young people. Even for me as a politician, the votes right now are in the hands of young people. So if you think about who are leaders today, it is young people. But there are a few people who are older who still carry alongside their concepts the burden of what we are disposing of. And they have a lot more control because they have resources. But I can tell you, if we persist on this route of love instead of hate, on this route of unity, we will overcome. Young people will overcome. There is so much hope for Africa because it is young. And I think that it's upon us who are leaders to spur young people throughout our continent to focus on the future that God placed upon us in Africa. The future is requiring more than just academic curriculums, and that is why we have a discipleship program on campus, because it is not just about academics. Africa has had academics for as many years as over 100 years, but those academics have not changed Africa. What Africa needs is a software, and that software, young people possess it. The passion for change, and alongside that passion, the high level of values, the values of integrity, as I'll be talking about. That is what we need on top of the academic excellence that we pursue. So, and to do this, we are focused on small groups, 3, 9, as the approach that Jesus used, and not just the crowds. So to focus on merely creating political space is not sustainable, neither for politics nor for other gains. People follow a leader, and they buy into a credible vision, not a party, not a color, not a religious sect. People buy into the person. And I think that if we can create numbers of persons who possess high level of values, then we would have cast a vision that will be bought across Africa. That is why values, the software, is for me, and I believe for us in AYLF, the greatest asset that God has given us. And I pray that all of you will embrace this across Africa. The things you are learning in the small group should continue to influence you and to encourage you on your journey. It's our core. We believe that we are a light and a salt of the world, as Jesus said in Matthew, that we are a city on a hill. In the whole of Africa, we still have below 5% of young people reaching university. So all of you, university students gathered, wherever you are gathered right now, you are about the cream of your countries. You represent the best of your countries. But who are you? You should, as you represent your countries, you should focus on growing your character, because we should represent a character. And when we talk about integrity, it means everything. Who you are when nobody is seeing. Who you are, the part of you that today's pressure, whether political pressure, whether economic pressure, cannot submerge. That is the strength that we need. Most of our leaders have been taken down by corruption. They have been taken down by money. They have been taken down by several things. And that's why our countries have not survived. In this country where I live, it has become difficult to do any business without being corrupt. And I think it will take something from within to change that. And I think you young people have the opportunity to do that. First of all, you do not have resources. And that in itself is an advantage. In other words, you have very little to start with. And when you start with that very little, you can gain much over the years. And the times also have lent themselves nicely to you. You have technology. You can mobilize. You can gather. So you should use that. Technology also enhances your ability to study other continents, to study what other people are doing elsewhere. So we should focus on that software. We should focus on increasing our attitudes. Jesus called them the Beatitudes in Matthew 5. As you continue reading, he talks about kindness, he talks about humility, he talks about generosity. And says, pure are, good are, blessed are. If you look at those Beatitudes, Jesus meant them for us to become that, to become humane, to become more generous. Today the world has been broken, not because the world does not have resources. It is because a few greedy people take all the resources of the world and make them theirs. And it happens in this particular country where we live, even here in my country. And I believe in all of your countries. It is the issue of scarcity is not unavailability of resources. It is a poor leaders demonstrating to young people a wrong trend. And we must stand up our ground and change that. We must continue to show the image of Jesus, the image of God, and the image of love. The image to see God in every human face that we see. Whether they are Muslim, they are Christian, whatever they believe, whether they are poor and we are affluent, whether they come from the other part of the country and you come from the next part of the country, see them as possessing the image of God, because we are God's children, and that's the culture that we represent. So, We are therefore, when you talk about culture, we are focusing on the culture of the opposite. Instead of hate, we focus on love. Instead of division, we are focusing on unity. Instead of self-exaltation, we focus on humility. And these are tough things. These are tough things. Those of us who are in politics, our communities have been built to push you as a politician to be politically correct, to represent hate, to represent division. They cut you too sharp, but we have to stand our ground, because what is sustainable is love. What is sustainable is generosity. What is sustainable is humility. You cannot sustain violence. At least no country has been able to sustain violence. Violence breaks every country. Corporate growth rather than individual accomplishments. Jesus rather than individual denominations. Faith rather than fear. We are not going to fear those who hate us or those who hate the values that we possess. We will confront them calmly by demonstrating that these values are sustainable and they can cut across years, they can work in every geography. At least we have seen that over the years. So together we are strong, more courageous, more love, more powerful, increasingly influential. And I believe this is happening. For us to have been in 130 universities is not a simple thing. There are organizations that started work on campus and have collapsed since 2007. And we have been there with very lean budget. The reason why we gather today, the way we gather, is because we have been resilient. And what we have is sustainable. And so we are much stronger. A deliberate culture of friendship with those we influence. Jesus said, "You are my friends." And I think we should go with that. Calling more friends to join. And going out to spending time with more of those that Jesus calls his friends. And Jesus has a way of calling the unwanted his friends. And I think we should be found on the side of the unwanted, the side of the vulnerable, the side of the opposed. We should be found in support of them. So as a brand, we represent what cannot be taken away from us. It is our testament. The things that we represent as individuals can never be taken away from us. No one can take love away from us. Not fear will. We will be loving. No one will take the truth from us. We should speak it even when it pains those who hate us. We should let it go out there because it's sustainable. It defends itself. Provides for us an identity. This brand gives us an identity. We have an identity of uniqueness, an identity of love, an identity of truth, an identity of the way that could salvage our countries. It represents compassion and passion. We are reaching out to those who should be segregated upon, who should be judged upon, and we're demonstrating to the world that it's possible. In fact, AYLF has demonstrated that it is possible for Christians and Muslims to have a fellowship around God. It is possible. At least for the last 14 years, it has been possible. Enables others to make, and we believe that this will enable others to make their own stories. And I challenge all of us, those of us who are new, that what story can you tell this year? What story, as far as your membership of AYLF is concerned? So leaders we were meant to be so. We must build credibility in these areas, in our competence, in what we are learning. There are many students today at the university who are not taking time to learn in the faculties where they are. They are focusing higher, and they are forgetting the skills. But you do need those skills to do anything you are ever going to do. You do need to pick the skills. And I would like to encourage all of you. First, you are a student, and spend time being a student. And then you are a leader, so spend time learning leadership skills like you are doing right now and like you are doing on the various forums. But besides that, keep a connection with those who are in influence. Remember, we said life is going to be collaboration. Life is a collaborative effort. We live because others are. That is what our Ubuntu is about. We are because others are. We have seen that in East Africa. Recently, when Kenya threw out the Ugandan maize, the Ugandan farmers realized they couldn't live without their Kenyan counterparts. And I think it neutralizes the Mijingo, the island issues. Not so. Ever since our borders have been closed with Rwanda, we now realize how much we have lost because we cannot access that country. But we would be much stronger if we were working together. And I think we need to be seeing this happening. And there is a way in which those in leadership mess up the terrain that people cannot trade. Right now, we've been dealing with issues of trade in the borders again over COVID. In other words, even people who are born this side and have relatives the other side cannot even carry a kilo of sugar across the border because someone is stopping them. This must change. But it can only change if those who are manning those borders can understand that we are one. We are greater than the borders. We create them. We are much stronger and greater than them. So we must keep our connections. Our character, the qualities of our character must be kept at their very best. So our connections must be true, must remain authentic, we must stay vulnerable. Vulnerable meaning we should know we are not the very best. We should be quick to think that because our party is the very best party, our religious group is the very, very religious group. It's not true. Our tribe is the best tribe. It's not true. We should be vulnerable to know that whatever weaknesses exist in the others also exist in us. That way, we can come to the table and talk love and talk acceptance. We have a great opportunity. And Ben said, the greatest waste in the world is the difference between what we are and what we could become. Because we never get to what we could become because we crush potential. Right now, like I told you, we have so much resources in the economies of East Africa, but we cannot harness them because a few people are going amiss all the time. But if we were working together, we could experience that. But even as individuals, without your character, without you sharpening your character, your potential, you will not be able to harness the entirety of your potential. So keep your integrity intact. Keep your sexuality intact. Keep all these things, your appetite and greed. Keep away from the things that have crushed others that have gone before us. Whatever your discipline, become a student of excellence in all things. Take every opportunity to observe people who manifest the qualities of mastery. These models of excellence will inspire you and guide you towards a fulfillment of your highest potential. Jesus challenges us when he asked the disciples, who do people say that I am? And who do you say that I am? We need to ask ourselves, who are people saying that we are? Even as individuals, but also as a YLF. Who do people refer us to? To keep our salt salty, we must examine where we have come, and we've come a long way. But we must keep on examining so that we can keep salty. Who do you think the community says you are? As students on that university, particular university where you are leaders, what are students saying about you? They should say you are a loving group. They should say you are a generous group. They should say you are the group that is saving their university. They should refer to you as those who reconcile broken relationships in the university. They should also say you are the best academic students. This should be said of us where we are. And as a leader, we should demonstrate by going fast, by taking the lead. Taking the lead in these areas that I have talked about. So make your lifestyle a living example for those you are mentoring. There is a fascinating statement that Jesus made. He said, I sanctified myself that they, the disciples, might be sanctified. We must go fast and become the example. We must be the ones carrying our cross fast. When we become the example, it is easy for others to follow. What effect am I having on others because of the habits that I have, the lifestyle that I live? It's like raising kids in a family, isn't it? So when you ask yourself, how is my character? What am I showing on campus? You know, when you are being elected as a leader, you are looking at a position. But as soon as you get elected, your constituency was looking at you for service. But you are looking at a position. So when now you get into the position, you must look back to what they were looking at. So all of you out there on campus, that God has given you a chance to be leaders this year, you should ask yourself what type of leader you are. because that is why the students put you into leadership. And again, for those of us who have been elected in positions like I am looking back and saying, why did those poor people give me a chance? What can I do? How can I use the chance? So work across all lines of faith and cultural differences. That's what Jesus calls us to when he said in Matthew 23:1, he said that while he was speaking to the crowd, he said, all of you are brothers. And I can tell you, none of us can say here today that we are not brothers. We are brothers and sisters. We were born right here. God placed us here for a purpose. He gave us the same resources. We drink the same water. If it is the Nile, we share from it. We are enjoying the same air. We breathe the same air. We live in the same land. Everything that God did, we are sharing the same sun. Surely we are one. But somebody is telling us that we are different. We need to teach our nations. We need to teach our tribes. We need to teach our churches. We need to teach members of our mosque to know that we do not have enemies. We are alone in the house. It is us. There is no other. It's just us in the house. And if we recognize that it is us, we will sort the problems in the house. And we will not sort them by demonizing others. We will sort them as issues without personalizing them. And I think it is possible for us to do that. We are stewards of a vision that God has given us. A vision that we see in Matthew 26, that love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. We are a vision of that. We are stewards of that vision. And we would like to God has entrusted us that vision to show the world that he is the leader and we are his followers. We are stewards of people that have been entrusted to us. Those of you on campus, you are stewards of the students on your campus. When they don't eat, you are stewards. You should be the one standing in for them. You are also stewards of the property on those universities. AYLF has demonstrated that with students' good understanding and collaboration with administration, strikes should be the issue of history in East Africa. That the African universities can be able to survive and flourish with the collaboration between students and the school administrators. We are stewards of resources, all kinds of resources that God has given us. So we must practice servant leadership in this effort and make sure that we are able to follow the style of Jesus as mentors. Service is one thing we can only teach by being and not by talking about it. And I would like to repeat that. We will not be able to teach the world about being servants unless we act like so, unless we go ahead and show that we are servants. Again he said, what shall we say the kingdom of God is like? Or what parable shall we use to describe it? It is like a mustard seed, which is the smallest of all seeds on earth. Yet when planted, it grows and becomes the largest of all garden plants, with such big branches that the birds can perch in the shade. Just a few things on this parable. One is that when you actually think about who we are and who the student leader is a small thing. You are just a small thing in the university, no resources. But look at the promise that Jesus gives you, that when you are planted, you will grow large. And he says, when you will be the largest plant in the garden, when you are planted, you will be the largest in the garden. And then he says, the birds of the air. And Jesus has used the birds before. They are the most vulnerable. When he talks about worry, he says, look at the birds of the air. They do not they don't sow or harvest, and yet your Father provides for them. So he says, we will become the place that Africa hangs on. The vulnerable of Africa will hang on our vision. They will find a place to perch, to stay on, if we stay on. If we accept to be planted. If the truth enters us, we will become the hope of our countries. So again, I thank you all for standing where you are standing. The times have been very hard, but I thank you all for what you have done the previous year. And I pray that the year ahead of us will be a year of success, a year of hard work, and indeed a year of us investing more in our people. I thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our dear friend, brother, and MP, Kabira Maido, Mr. Alfred Edakasi. The one thing that actually really stood out to me was he said that AYLF is not just a project, but it's a way of life. The values we learn, the principles instilled in us, all these things become part of the way we live life, and it's not just a one-time project. And that is definitely true. So just to give a small recap, this has been a 2-day event. Today is the 7th. We had our first event yesterday, and the majority of the watchers are actually online. We have a very big online presence, and our dear student leaders, small group coordinators, all of you that are watching from out there, we're happy to have you. We have coordinators from different areas of the region. We have coordinators and student leaders watching in from Mukono. We have those in Kololo. We have those in Kasese. We have those that are watching from Fort Porto, Mbarara, Gulu, those that are at Gaba Road, Masaka, and Lira. These are about 9 watch parties all over the country. And I just want to shout out to all of you. Thank you for being here and definitely attending this event that was definitely for you. We also have about 6 watch parties across the border. We have our friends from Kenya, our friends from Tanzania in Arusha. We have our friends from Rwanda, South Sudan. We have our friends from Congo and Burundi. So we are just amazed to have you at this event. Despite all the COVID situations, we still managed to have the event that has been running from 2007, and for the past 2 years we haven't had it physically. We've had this event online, thankfully, and we're glad to have all of you here. So I'd just like to also recognize the presence of a few people. We had our first session yesterday. The theme for this event is actually leveraging youthfulness. And yesterday we had an online session. It was for about 2 hours, and I'd just like to recognize our host for yesterday, Mr. Matanda Abubakar, an advocate of the High Court and the coordinator, Youth League Alliance for National Transformation Party. I'd also like to recognize a few of our main speakers yesterday that blessed us with their knowledge and wisdom on how the young people can leverage their youthfulness. We have Mr. Jacob Beyeru, National Youth Council President. We're happy to have you here. Then, of course, we have Isabella Akiteng, a social worker and founder, FemFort. We're happy to have you here today. So the speaker, the Right Honorable Speaker, has been delayed by a meeting, but when he gets here, he'll be sharing his remarks with us on leveraging youthfulness. We are going into a music interlude in a couple of minutes. But before that, I just want to remind you that the hashtags for today are hashtag AYLF2021 and hashtag leveraging youthfulness. For those that are tweeting on Facebook, those are the hashtags that we can use. And of course, on our YouTube channel, since this event is actually live on YouTube, we have comments coming in from various people. We have friends from Mukono sending greetings. We have Valentine from Congo sending in greetings. We have Opio live from Naguru. We have Pithua from MUBS. These are groups of students that are just meeting together to listen in together. So we have different universities in different regions and different areas. For example, universities in Gulu are meeting in one place to attend the event together. So that's what we call the watch parties. And they're watching together. So if I say we have people in Gulu, just know that it's a whole group of people, and we are happy to have you. We have some students live from Cavendish University watching in, and definitely some AYLF alumni are sending in their greetings. Fahad, live from Saudi Arabia, is watching in as well. These are just comments from the YouTube channel. We have James, who's live from Kigali, watching in as well. We have Koskei, watching from Eldoret, Kenya. And we also have Hassan watching in from India. Interesting. We have more people sending in comments. Keep those comments coming in. We're happy to have you here. And we shall be having a music interlude in the next few minutes. Okay, some AYLF alumni. Mufano Heriter says greetings from Norway. And Ayeli, we have a friend Diana from Germany. She was with us in 2019 and she's sending greetings this year as well. We're happy to have you. We have Kiba following from South Africa. It's really amazing to have all of you guys here, and we are glad that we could have this event, and we have the biggest presence online that is watching us. So let's just dive right into the music interlude. Relax, just feel at home, and we'll be proceeding with from our mentors right after this. So let's enjoy the interlude.
Ooh, happy birthday to one of my biggest mentors. But there's a way we do it in Africa. You guys know it, right? So everyone stand up. Let's do this together.
Happy birthday, General Mugisha Muntu. Happy 63rd birthday. Wow. I hope everyone out there is relaxing where they're watching from. Just enjoy the music interlude as you remember everything you are learning today, as you discuss as small group members, as fellow student leaders, as you're having those peer-to-peer discussions out there from the different areas. We have from the YouTube comments, as we have this beautiful music interlude, we have friends from Mukono sending greetings. We have friends from Germany sending greetings. We have friends from South Africa sending greetings. We have friends watching from Zambia here in Uganda sending greetings. We have friends from AYLF, DRC, to be specific, Benin, sending greetings. YMCA, paying close attention, they say. Sorority is well represented. DR Congo is represented. We have friends watching live from South Sudan. We have friends watching from Makerere University here in Uganda. We have friends watching live from Cairo University. Cairo University, I want to believe that's in Egypt. We have friends from Cavendish University here in Uganda. We have the AYLF alumni represented as well. Enjoy.
Fresh. Swans of it. We got us anytime. Dancing. We got
Yes, yes, yes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know how to dance? Are you shy like me? The general knows how to dance. Aha. Yeah, I think this is a happy time. So don't be shy. Yeah. Yes, and the guys online. You also put in your dancing shoes, and so I need some guys who know how to dance. Any volunteers? Come on, guys, don't be shy. Don't be shy. I need some dancers. Edmund, yes, Edmund. Come on, guys. Hey, let's clap for him until he comes. Sorry? Eyeru, Jacob, yes, Jacob. Come on. What about the ladies? Gender balance. Okay, let's get the music. I know you'll dance, yeah?
Okay, so those that are watching in, just continue. Feel free to relax as we are preparing for our panel discussion. Also, you've been tasked to stand up and dance, so enjoy yourselves. Those people who are at Mukono especially.
Slow dancing, slow dancing, slow dancing. I will down, slow dancing, diggy diggy. Chikole mopea tuve kuye chito, slow dancing, diggy diggy. Fire, baby. Songs Avenue. I drop that. byanyuma byawo matu bijjamu byanyuma byawo matu bijjamu kusaba repeat it saba rewind it oi
It's time tunes on the beat.
Tell them.
Exclusive from offers.com.
So big thanks to everyone who danced. I want to thank a brother of mine, Davis. By the time I came here, only Davis was my friend, but now everyone is my friend. Isn't that a big achievement? Please clap for me. Yes.
Thank you, and that is because AYLF is a family of friends. So you're welcome. Okay, so we are going to be diving right into our panel discussion. Thank you very much, Eddie Mwesigwa, for that amazing music interlude, for just helping us relax a bit. Now, I would just like to take this opportunity to invite our host for the panel, Mr. Andrew Tayebwa. He is one of the co-founders of Africa Youth Leadership Forum, and he's also an advocate of the High Court. Mr. Andrew Tayebwa will be joining us shortly.
You can mention that the speaker is there.
As we prepare for the panel discussion, I would like to once again re-echo that this is our second day of the 2-day event, and it will be our last day. We shall have the National Prayer Breakfast tomorrow. Also, Andrew is here, so let me hand over to him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that introduction. The technical team can advise me if my microphone is on. Please confirm that my microphone is on. Thank you very much. You're all welcome to this second session of our 14th AYLF Gathering. The team that is online, we want to welcome you from the different countries. Part of our program, like as has already been mentioned, is to have a panel session. And ladies and gentlemen, we have been privileged to have distinguished members of society who have taken off time to come and speak to young people. They are passionate about young people. They are always available when we ask to young people. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, I will start introducing the panelists. And as I introduce them, they will take up their seats. But I am also reliably informed that the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Jacob Olanya, is almost here, or if not, he could be in the lobby about to get in. So if we have that interruption, please bear with us as he gets in. Okay. Thank you very much, Alan, for that a piece of information. I'm told the speaker is here, and then he will be walking in. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I will be introducing our panelists, and as I introduce them, they will be taking up their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, our first panelist is retired Major General Mugisha Muntu. He is a Ugandan politician and a retired military officer. He served as the commander of the army. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize the presence of the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Jacob Olanya. Right Honorable Speaker, you're welcome. We are now going to have our anthems, and then we'll continue with the program.
Utaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jamhuri yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano iwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Chombolea yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker, you may take your seat. Right Honorable Speaker, just to bring you up to speed, we started this session about 2 hours ago, and we have had 2 presentations, one from our Africa Youth Leadership Forum coordinator, Alan Shepard, and we also had a presentation by Alfred Edakasi, who is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kabirimaido County. Honorable Speaker, we are very grateful for your time, taking off time off your busy schedule to come and be with us this now afternoon. And we are just starting off the panel session. Right Honorable Speaker, the theme for today is leveraging youthfulness. And apart from the people that you see here in the audience, we have hundreds and hundreds of members who are watching online. Some have even organized a place such as this, and they are watching online. So we would like to thank you for taking off time off your busy schedule to be here. I just want to give you a formal introduction, Honorable Speaker, if you allow me. The Right Honorable Speaker is a Ugandan agriculture economist, a lawyer, and a politician who serves as the Speaker of the 11th Parliament of Uganda, that is 2021 to 2026. He was elected to that position on the 24th May of 2021. He served as Deputy Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament from May 2011 until May 2021. The Speaker is also a Member of Parliament representing Omoro County constituency in Omoro District, Acholi sub-region in the northern part of Uganda. He has been very active in legislation in Uganda. Some of the legislations that we can talk about, he was the brain behind the amendment in the Children's Act of Uganda and many others. He's passionate about young people. Each time he gets an opportunity to speak to young people, he takes it up, for which we are very grateful. Right Honorable Speaker, the last time we were with you, you are a Deputy Speaker. Now you are the full Speaker of Parliament, and we want to congratulate you. It means that the values that we have always talked about are values that have effect. No wonder the people that we associate with are going higher and higher. We can only keep saying that the Lord will keep taking you higher and higher. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to also use this time to introduce other panelists that you will be with there. And just when you are walking in, I was introducing retired Major General Mugisha Muntu. He is a Ugandan politician and a retired military officer. He served as the commander of the army, the highest position in the Ugandan military, from 1989 to 1998. He is the current president of the Alliance for National Transformation, a political party he founded in March 2019. He was also the presidential candidate. He was also a presidential candidate in the last concluded 2021 general elections. He is passionate about mentoring young people, having honed his leadership skills as a young man in Muitiera High School and Makerere University. While in school, he served as deputy president of the Students' Union. He is much admired for being a man of integrity. Retired Major General Mugisha Muntu, we welcome you to join the Right Honorable Speaker on the podium. Okay, thank you. Then the panelist, the third panelist that we have is Alice Namuli Blezevic. She is a partner with Katende Sempego and Company Advocates and a former vice president of Uganda Law Society. She is an award-winning lawyer, recently ranked among the top most influential women in legal tech by the International Legal Tech Association 2020. She is the founder of Coffee with Alice, a mentorship program aimed at inspiring students with the desire to join the legal profession right from secondary schools. She is currently developing the Coffee with Alice app, where mentors and mentees from all over the world will be able to easily connect. Ladies and gentlemen, I request that we give a round of applause as our panelists take their seats. Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker, like I had mentioned earlier, apart from the few people that you see here, there are hundreds that are watching us online from different universities. We have those in universities in Kenya, universities in Tanzania. We have those from even Congo who are joining us online. So, Right Honorable Speaker, we are very privileged to have you here and the other panelists. So, we shall get into the panel session. And maybe just to give this background, some of us, I used to be a student leader, and Africa Youth Leadership Forum took us up when I was chairman Mitchell Hall, for those who went to Makerere University. And when I was about to finish my term of office, Africa Youth Leadership Forum came and started training us. I learned one thing, that without this kind of training, you learn on the job. And if you're learning on the job, most likely you waste a lot of time. So the young people who are out there have a privilege, because through this kind of sessions, you're able to learn one or two things which can help you as a leader, or even inspire you to be a leader. So I want you to pick your pens and papers and start taking notes. And also, if you have questions that you can send, please send them online. We shall be able to pass them on to the panelists. I will start with retired Major General Mugisha Muntu. Your story is an amazing story. From a young age, you are interested in seeing that people's rights are guaranteed. You left the comfort of your life while at the university to go and join the war, and many other things that you have done. I would like to ask, and if you could tell the audience and everyone who is watching, what inspired you as a young man? Because people out there are young and they want to know how they can achieve their dreams. They want to know how they can be able to tap into their full potential without wasting their lives away. So, retired Major General Mugisha Muntu, if you could respond to that, we will be grateful.
Thank you. Let me first thank you, AYLF, for, I don't know the existing one. I think it's this one. I'd like to thank AYLF for inviting me to this panel. The Right Honorable Speaker, my colleague, the panel, Honorable Edakasi, the colleagues here present in this hall, and all those who are following us online. I believe that there is a seed implanted in every human being that God has created. I was blessed enough to realize early in my life the kind of purpose that is within me. And most times to know what the purpose that is within you, the seed that is planted within you, you normally find the thing that you are passionate about. And I was blessed enough early in my life to recognize that what drives me is the sense of justice and fairness in the manner in which we all are meant to live on this planet. So I found that over a period of time, what drives me is to get a sense that we are all having a situation wherever we live, wherever we work, a situation where there is justice and where there is fairness. Basically, that's what I find that motivates me in whatever I do.
Thank you very much. He has said something that is very important, and that is purpose. From the onset, if you are destined to do great things, it is important to always know your purpose, because from your purpose, it shapes your future, and it shapes your plans. Let me add to her.
Related to this. Related, but nobody blessed me. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. So we are making changes in my life now. So what's happening now? Let's make amendment and have it. I just need to know what we're going to discuss. It's leveraging youthfulness. It's leveraging youthfulness. So that's what we're discussing. Yes, yes. And then what happens? The youth here. What am I going to speak on? It's now this one is we had formulated some questions for the panel, but relating to the theme. Then when you give a presentation, you'll make remarks about it. So this presentation.
On the topic that we had given him, then we can come in to discuss.
Okay, let's do that. Sorry for any inconvenience.
Okay. Thank you very much. As you can see on our program, we were supposed to have remarks from the Right Honourable Speaker, but when we got some delays here and there, we had suggested that we start with the panel session. But I've been advised that we start with his presentation, then we shall have the panel session after. Therefore, I would like to invite Honorable Edakasi to come, and the speaker, to come and give his remarks.
May I take this opportunity without much ado to just welcome you. The Africa Leadership Forum work started in 2007, and it's been a long collaborative effort to reach out to student leaders in the universities in East Africa. As we speak, today you will be speaking to students in 130 universities across East Africa, 7 countries to be in particular, who are all right now online waiting to hear your voice. We have been very privileged to be in partnership with the Parliament of Uganda since then, and we thank you for your very great courtesy to come today and even in the past. Like the MC mentioned, we are very privileged to have you as the Speaker of the House. As Africa Youth Leadership Forum, we think that the next 5 years are great years for us to deepen our work among young people, which work is really the work of character formation for all the leaders, all the student leaders across Africa, who are leaders today, as you know, and also leaders tomorrow to take off from us. And we thank you for taking off time on your busy schedule to come and be able to sow a seed that will germinate today and the days ahead. Again, thank you very much, and please welcome to share with us.
I'm not that big. Mr. Moderator, is this thing working? Okay, Mr. Moderator, my good friend, Honorable Dakasi Kabaramaido, General Mugisha Muntu, my good friend, and the lady, the lawyer, who are meeting for the first time today, I think, who will form the panel discussion immediately after I make my presentation. I apologize for being late. I had things running into each other, and this became a victim. It's not my nature to arrive at meetings late. I always come on schedule. This is one of the exceptions where other people affect my own schedule by their poor timekeeping. And it is also important that I talk to them. So you will forgive me for that. I think I'm in a safe distance, and all of you are wearing masks, so I can speak without mine. Is that okay? Yes. So that you can also read my face and read my lips, and I'll know that I mean what I'm saying. Thank you very much for this opportunity to interact with young people once again. I've done this a few times, and each time I do it, I feel more inspired than the time I did it before. Because working as young people, sometimes people advise us about the future. A future we don't really understand that much. I remember myself growing up, struggling every morning to walk 7 kilometers to school on a footpath road with dew and rain and flooding rivers, and braving the day without lunch. Trying to figure out a future I could not even understand. Trying to do things for a time I had no idea about. But we were there, walking every morning from 5 a.m. in the morning to go to school, on the motivation of my father, who kept telling me, go to school. If you go to school, things will change as a young person. My father was in the school management for a long time without having any of his children at that school. It was a primary school. And then the day I was mature enough to go to school, age 7, he took me to school on a bicycle. Many of you will not understand how a father can take a child on a bicycle because you're used to cars to take children to school. My own children don't understand when I tell them I was taken on a bicycle. So I can understand the structure of your brains each time you try to appreciate the things that are going on. Your calibration is different from the calibration of my generation, who was so honored to be put on a bicycle to be taken to school. But that is not the important thing. The important thing is what happened to me as soon as I reached school. I had a head teacher called Luca Labeja. I still remember the room with everything. But the building has collapsed now. But I still have the mental picture of the room that I entered. And my father entered holding my hand, and the head teacher was standing there. He said, "Mr. Okori, welcome." And I walked in a bit timid. They had not made for me a uniform, so I went in trousers. What the head teacher did to me that day is in me till I don't know when. He picked the school stamp, and started stamping my whole body. My shirt, my hands, my everything, say, "Welcome to school. This is your school. This is your future." He stamped the whole of my body. So each time the rains were heavy, I remembered the stamps. Each time the fights, there were too many fights in school that time. I had to fight on average 7 times a day to just stay at school. I'm not counting the other. That's average. There are days we could exceed that. Each time things became so, I remembered the stamps. The question is, as young people, what stamp do you remember that inspires you to move on against all odds? Because the measure of who you are is what you do with what you have. That's Leonardo da Vinci. The measure of who you are is what you do with what you have. What do you have? Because it's upon that that will be measured. What do you have? I hear youthfulness. I hear energy. I hear so many things that young people have that I used to have that now I don't have. The daring nature. What inspires you? What motivates you? What makes you wake up every morning to go and say, well, let me do my part? Ngugi wa Thiong'o said, brother, the struggle begins from where you are. Don't wait to be anything else or become anybody else. The struggle for whatever you want to see change, whatever you want to do to succeed, begins right from where you are. It does not matter that you're a student, no. It does not matter that you're a youth, no, it does not really matter. It does not matter that you're a former army commander, no, it doesn't matter. It begins exactly from where you are. So as we talk now, the struggle for whatever we set out to achieve begins from where we are. That's your front line. You have a responsibility to extend the frontier, join with others, and we achieve what we must. Don't wait to be anything else. You wait too long, and the opportunities will have gone. Just use that front line. Somebody else said, If I have a dream, it is but a dream. But if my dream is shared by everybody else, it becomes a reality. I have a dream. All of you remember that speech of I have a dream. If that dream is not shared, if that dream does not become semi-universal, it is but a dream. It is until many people share that dream that becomes a reality. General Muntu here will tell you about Frantz Fanon with his famous saying, every generation must, out of relative obscurity, find its mission. You are a generation of young people. Too many things are obscure. There are things you don't understand. Not that they're difficult to understand, but because you don't expect them to happen the way they're happening. So you don't understand why they're happening the way they're happening. So it's not lack of intelligence. It's just that it is incomprehensible what you see happening around yourself. So that's the obscurity we are talking about. But out of all those complex issues that create this obscurity, you must find your mission. And then after finding your mission, you have a choice, two choices. One, choose one. Either achieve that mission or betray it, that mission or betray it. So you have a choice, fulfill it, the mission you have so identified, or betray it. But if you believe in ipso family, then betrayal is out of the question. Then you have to be able to walk through that wall to achieve it, because there will be obstacles all around you. I challenge you to look at walls as temporary prohibitions. Look at mountains as temporary challenges. You must be able to climb mountains or move mountains or die trying, because an idea whose time has come is invincible. That's Martin Luther King. So it's up to you, really. The choice is with you, not with anybody else. Many young people like it when they tell them, you are leaders of tomorrow. I say, yes, we will wait for tomorrow. We'll wait for tomorrow. Which tomorrow? Because the future is already here. The future is right here with us. We have to make it. We have to shape it. We have to give it proper direction. We have that responsibility. You cannot be count on anybody else to shape your future. No. Be part of it. Like somebody said, we don't mind what turn history will take, but will not allow history to take any turn without our participation. We really don't care what turn history will take. Let it take whatever turn, but will not allow history to make that turn without our participation. Young or old, you have to participate. The question is, how are you going to participate? What kind of energy are you going to put in the process? Negative energy, positive energy. I strongly propose positive energy. Are we together on that? Because there's also negative energy. I propose to you positive energy. And I think if we all make positive contributions to the missions we have identified and the alliances we have built over time and the realities that have been generated from dreams, then we can say to God, we are ready. We will move. So why are you here? Again, You are here because you are not done. Last year you were here because you were not fulfilled what you needed to fulfill. The day you fulfill it, these meetings will stop. The only reason you keep coming here every day, every year, because you are not done. It's not quite finished. You have not succeeded in inspiring other people to stop holding meetings, but to carry the burden from where they are and move, even without meetings. You have not achieved that yet. So that's the challenge. That's the real challenge. How do we, in small rooms like this, generate a current that covers the entire young generation, and they move on with this motivation? The kind of motivation that extracts people from universities and they go and sweat in the bushes, in the rains, and dodge snakes, and go without food. You have a living testimony here. And did somebody go to him to say, let's go? No. Even if somebody had come to him and he said, let's go. If he had not felt in his heart it was the right thing to do, he was not going. But they came to preach to the converted. So he left without anything. Many of you, if you are called upon to do anything now, you would run. So we need to use these opportunities very well. Every time we get together through meetings of this nature, and even now I am told, you can see me from different places, which is a big advantage. I don't have to come there for you to see me. You can see me right from where I am. That's my front line. This is an opportunity. How do you use it? Bear in mind that opportunities are what? Are in transition. From the time I started speaking, so many seconds have passed, that will never come back. The same with opportunities. These are lifetime opportunities you are creating for yourselves and other young people in different parts of the country, part of the world. So how do we take charge of this opportunity? There's a priest, an evangelist, called Leonard Ravenhill. He said, an opportunity of a lifetime must be seized within the lifetime of that opportunity. An opportunity of a lifetime must be seized within the lifetime of that opportunity. Why? Because all opportunities have a lifetime. They are never permanent. So we use this opportunity to connect people, create purposeful dialogue, not some misleading thing that people are shouting around, which is now the currency in some parts of this country. Noise is very important to some people. I keep urging people, sharpen your arguments, not your voices. But many people prefer sharpening voices. Shouting, down with the sword, down with this. Sharpen your arguments. Because you argue using your mouth. And your mouth is the opening to your brain. If your brain is messed up, your mouth cannot do much. Try a messed up brain and you see how difficult it is. We are trying to evolve vision, entrepreneurship, and service. Like we say in Rotary, above self. That's a generation of young people that we would like to create. inspired by nothing else but making a contribution to God's people. If you crack his skull open, that's not called a contribution. That's called an assault. If you give the person water, if you show them a road when they are lost, if you help them when they need, like Christ said, then you are putting positive energy and contributing to helping the people of God. So I come here really not to give a lecture. I come here to go back to your initial question. Leveraging youthfulness. I go back to my first question. What do you have? And probably the panelists will help me with answering the question. What do you have? Sometimes we even don't know what we have. We have to be told. We have to be reminded that you have two hands actually. Many people don't have it, but you have two hands. You have to be reminded that you have a head and a brain inside it that you must use to create opportunities and create networks. You have to be reminded that you have two legs in most cases. There are many people who don't have two legs. But many of them do better than many people with four hands, two hands and two legs. You find somebody who has been disadvantaged physically, in a better shape than the one who is 6 feet tall, both hands, swollen chest, just chewing funny things. And he's young. He's 18, he's 19, he's 20, he's 25, but he's there. And then we are so quick to listen to those who will tell us what your problems are and who is responsible for it, without pointing it out to you that actually you are responsible for it. What do you have? And how do we deploy what you have to deal with the challenges that you face or challenges that face you? Face your community, face your country, with what you have as young people. Energy, yes. Youthfulness, yes. And so many other things that you can do. How do we tap into that resource? How do you make it available so that we can use these things? So you need a roadmap. You need a direction pointer. You need a true magnetic north. Everything turmoil what, but the magnet points back to the north. Your guiding star. What is it? What is it that you cannot do without? What is it that if you are put underwater without air, the minute you step out, you would immediately say, I want this? What is it? Find it. And if I find mine, Honorable Edakasi finds his, General Muntu finds his, and the collective findings. Oh yes. What could stop you? Because you become a big voice. And the voice of the people is the voice of God. So, I just come to ask these questions, to get us to start thinking slightly differently. When we were at the university, the way we used to think probably was different than the way the class of General Muntu used to think when they were at the university. How we used to think when we were at the university. If I compare with the generation of universities, with a lot of you in universities, I say, what just happened to human beings? Because certainly your priorities are upside down. I speak to students, and I just wonder, I say, was I ever like this? I don't remember, because I was never like that. At the university, I started something called the Ideological College. It became very big. Every Thursday afternoon, we engaged for 2 to 3 hours. Discussion, we called ministers. It became so big that one time I even called Al-Turabi. That's when my problem started. Al-Turabi came. He was the ideologue of Omar Bashir, of the agenda of Sudan to change the whole of Sudan, including South Sudan. He was the ideologue. He came. He was supposed to fly back that evening. He didn't. Say, you have an interesting young group of young people here. He stayed for another day. And the next day we started at 10 o'clock in the morning. The whole day nobody went for lunch. Engaging with the ideologue of a regime that had become fairly oppressive to another category of people. Those are the university days I remember. We held the Jamaria for the Libyan people. I think we also hosted something about the PLO. Those are the things I remember about my university days. Go there now, Makerere, go there. Let's step back and look at these things again. Because the purpose is bigger. The purpose is humanity. The spirit of Ubuntu. You are because I am. Nothing less. That's why we send thieves to jail. That's why we send killers to jail. Because they are disrupting the equilibrium of society. They are disrupting humanity. They are disrupting the spirit of Ubuntu. So we send them to jail through due processes. So we need to start thinking again. Our world is faced with lots of challenges. Youth unemployment is one of them. Climatic change is one of them. Even food shortage is one of them. As young people, how do we develop ideas around these things and make ourselves a hub or a manufacturing unit for ideas to grant solutions to those things that afflict our people, rather than becoming the problem ourselves? We have been trained, we have gone through processes, we have the capacity to think, we can read, we can analyze, we can do research and compare situations and then say, we recommend this as a solution. How do we achieve that? Let's not think about the future, let's make the future. Let's not plan about the future. Let's work in the future. Because the future is already here. Yesterday was yesterday. Yesterday you would have said, Tomorrow was the future of yesterday. I mean, tomorrow is the future of today. Today is the future of yesterday. So which future are you talking about? My understanding is the future is any period you have not yet reached. So tomorrow is the future, part of the future. Tomorrow, henceforth, is the future. These opportunities that we have should be able to generate for us a blueprint. How we think, what we think, the choices we make, what relationships we create to achieve what purpose. This opportunity should always give us that. And when we do this, because we are the ones with the most energy to run around and do them anyway, even if General Muntu was to go back to the bush today, he would not be able to do the things he did when he first went, because the youthfulness has gone. The running, the what, he cannot now do it that well. But you have that advantage. How do we use it? How do we leverage it to the advantage of the people of God? How do we do that? That's a question I leave with you. And I don't expect answers in words. I expect answers in action. May God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. As I wait for the technical team to switch on my mic, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for that wonderful presentation. One of the things that I know about the Right Honorable Speaker is his... Just
I've come back here to sing. And the song I'm going to sing, all of you know. Maybe you don't know the purpose. I'm going to sing Happy Birthday. Today is General Muntu's birthday. So would you to your feet rise and we do happy birthday to the General. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear General. Happy birthday to you. The second round.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. That was a good one, and I think it's a lesson to the young people who are watching and those who are here. The General may not subscribe to the same political party as the Right Honorable Speaker, but the Right Honorable Speaker found it fit to wish him a happy birthday. And I think this should be a lesson to us. Yeah, that beyond...
But guess what?
Yes.
His father was in the same party with my father.
So would we be right to say that you are brothers, but at some point you took divergent views? So thank you very much. Before the Right Honourable Speaker came to sing, he is an orator, and each time he speaks, I take off a minute or two to think about what he has said. Because each time someone tells you that you have your life and the decisions that you are making. And I would agree with him, these days when you go to the university and you try and analyze some of the debates that are there, well, I think there is still a lot that can be done to make sure that the time there is used very well. One thing I know is that it is not easy to get the time that we had when we were at the university, because then you would shed your time to be in class, but also you had a lot of time to do co-curricular activities. So thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. And as you settle down to sit, I will just ask, maybe I thought it is important that I also ask the other panelists briefly what they think about this topic. Because the way you have brought it out has, opened many of our minds. In fact, some of the comments that I was seeing online, I think maybe I could give just 1 or 2 minutes to the other panelists also to say something about the topic before we continue with the questions. So I will start with Council. Oh, okay. She prefers that the birthday boy, as I would say, speaks us. You know, when you're a birthday boy, everything is in your favor. You do everything first. So, generally, please.
Thank you. Today, it seems it's been my lucky day. I've received a double portion. Wishing me. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Actually, before you arrived, they had again wished me a happy birthday. That's why I'm saying I received a double portion today. I'd like to thank AYLF. You're on the right path. You're on the right track. It may be a lonely journey to walk, but I can tell you that's the solution to the problems that we have on this continent. There's a line of division across humanity. Most people never focus on that as the main line of division. Most times people look at the lines of division being race, being ethnicity, being religion, and things like that. Really, those are not the main lines of division. The main line of division is the mindset that motivates people to do whatever they do. And it cuts across. It cuts across gender, it cuts across race, it cuts across ethnicity, it cuts across religion. You'll find different people in all those groupings. People who are value-driven, people who believe in fairness, in justice, in integrity, will work towards the common good when they are driven by values. You're on the right track, AYLF. Every society you look at right now, globally, continentally, you will get to understand the dominant force in that society. People who are driven by values, if they are the dominant force, it will reflect in that society. You'll find their fairness, you'll find their justice, you'll find their transparency, you'll find their drive for common good, because that's what drives the majority of the people, the dominant people. But if you go into a society that you find is in a state of a mess, you'll find that the dominant group are those who are driven by the lower self. Because in every human being, there is the upper self and the lower self. The lower self is when people are driven by the desire for survival, the desire for material things in life. Because in their mindset, it's a struggle for survival. They operate from a mindset of lack. Therefore, they think that if they don't do what they do as individuals, that they will not survive. That's what marks the difference in any society that you'll be able to watch. So continue on the path on which you are. Grow the numbers. And I believe by God's grace at some point, even within the African communities, you'll find that those who are driven by values become the dominant force. And then there'll be a turnaround. Because we don't have material lack on this continent. I mean, we are well endowed. Look at the area where you operate from, the East African countries, the 7 countries that you're operating from. In terms of potential, they're incomparable with many countries that you find on the planet. But because unfortunately, most times, the leadership and also the dominant class so far has been those who are driven by material wealth. And it's a sort of short-sightedness because there's no conflict actually between the two. Those who are driven by values, because they recognize, as is in, said, the Ubuntu, when you focus on building a society, a community, for the good of all, the society develops, and as an individual you benefit. And you even get the material things, that we all desire to have. Good houses, good vehicles, getting the basics. So there is no conflict. But when those who lead, or the dominant group is those who are fighting for survival, then the jungle law reigns. I mean, like you go in the national park, Merchant Falls, and or Kidepo, or Queen Elizabeth. The law that governs there is that the strongest, the lion, will just eat the antelopes, will eat the zebras, and is every individual for himself and God for us all. So you need to work to change that mindset. And I'm glad in your write-up you are focusing on changing culture. And we need to focus on that a lot. Basically, that's in brief what I would like to say on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We shall also have Council Alice to also come and make her comment. One of the important things that you have said is about changing mindsets. And I one time read that a citizen of a successful state will always be treated better. An ordinary citizen of a successful state will always be treated better than a rich person from a failed state. So it is important. So it benefits all of us if we work towards having a nation that embodies all these values, and a nation which cares for one another, like the Rotarians say, above self. Yeah. So, Council, please come and make your comments.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here, Honorable Speaker, and the Honorable Geno Muntu. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm actually privileged to listen to both these panelists. You will wonder why I'm actually very pleased is because I've actually not. The reason is that I got to a point in life where I was very frustrated with everything that's going on in the country. I actually don't watch TV. I don't listen to so much of the rhetoric that goes on in the nation, but just hearing your powerful words is very, very inspiring. And I guess from what I'm going to say, you understand why I do things completely differently. Someone actually told me, one of the people I share values with is that when you listen to TV or all these things that go on, it's like planning a date to be angry. So I never planned that date to be angry, but it's so humbling to hear definitely your wise words. What I think of the topic for today is very simple. When I think of the future, the leader of the future, and how we can actually nurture the leaders of the future is through nurturing accountable leaders. Whenever I talk to young people about accountable leadership, everyone is like, yes, our leaders need to be accountable. But guess what? The news I have for you, I don't want you to point fingers at anyone first. First point at yourself. How do you lead yourself? Accountable leadership is something that we all, I think, understand backwards. Accountability starts with us as individuals. You can never lead a community, you can never lead a group of people efficiently if you do not know how to lead yourself. And these are very, very simple tools you can actually try to appreciate in life. Sit down and assess yourself. How do you lead yourself as an individual? Many times you're like, he's our leader, he's our MP, he has to do this and this and that. Do you do that in your individual life? What's your individual life? When you wake up in the morning, you have children. How do you lead your children? How do you lead your family? Leadership starts in a home. Most people think, one of the things that, again, I tell young people is that by the time the leaders in my community influence my children, I've already influenced them. So that means the first person who has a responsibility to them as the young, the future leaders of this country is me. But guess what? Everyone is going to blame the LC1, the MP, but by the time they're influenced by that, I cut out I sieve all the information that comes into my house, into my life. I get all the, I'm connected to all, I'm connected to all the channels where I'm able to get news on good time, but I just made a decision and said, you know what? I need to filter the information that my children get. Who influences them on a daily basis? It has to be me or the people I choose to. And when you understand that, the people from your circle of influence, of course, you as a person, when I wake up in the morning, how do I relate with my husband? How do I actually lead myself as a wife? How do I lead myself as a mother? How do I lead myself, the people I employ? You understand, the people I work with. It's so easy for me to go out in a gathering with people like you and then tell you the good things. But what are my actions? What are my actions? That's what they call accountability. Looking, within yourself and leading yourself first. Master to lead yourselves. It's no rocket science, but it's also very humbling. Then you actually, after you've led yourself, then you know actually what you want from society. So many times you're thrown into society and you're asking for what you yourself you can't do. Are you able, are you honest? Are you do you have any sense of integrity? Do you even know this and this? Someone has to follow but we as lawyers, who are we? How do we lead ourselves? How do we practice law? You understand? If you took a poll on most of the transactions that are dealt in the world, you find a lawyer there, good or bad. You understand? So what I used to actually tell you is like, how do we lead ourselves as lawyers? How do we go about our day-to-day practice before we point fingers at anyone to follow the rule of law? Do we follow the rule of law in our daily lives, in your community? So after you've assessed yourself and understand as an individual who I am, how am I leading myself? How am I leading my children? How am I leading the people? Even the lady who cleans the worker, your nanny, your cleaner, how do you lead them? So many times I find women talking about women's rights, women activists and everything, but behind those back doors, they do not understand even how to lead fellow women. You understand? Outside. How do they pay that lady who cares for your child? How do you give her any rights? You're asking for women's rights, maternity rights and everything. Does the woman in your home, does she have those rights? Does she have a sick leave? You can't ask all those things. Guess what? These people we raise in our homes, you understand? I'm teaching you leadership within yourself. You raise in your home, you torture them, you mistreat them, but they go out in the world and they have the influence that General Mugisha was talking about. They end up actually taking up leadership positions. They end up, because the examples you showed them in your home, you had a power, but you misguided them, and guess what? They're out there now torturing others. That's how society works. There's no magic around it. Before you go into the outside forces, who are you as a person from the lowest level or denomination of a society? And that is you as the individual. Going to your family, going to your circle of influence, going to your community. I'm a believer in bottom up. I develop my development is from my community. So I don't believe in just waking up and like, okay, I'm going to just lead, I don't know, become like the member of parliament or become the president of Uganda. How have I been leading my community? So many times we have member of parliament who come to promise us so many things, and guess what? We actually vote for them. This person cannot even has no idea what even like what basic needs are required in a community, in his community. Do you understand? But he's promising you so many things. Who has that MP been in your community? What has he done? Please, guys, actions, not words. If you understand, the first thing you ask someone, how have you led yourself as an individual? Then we can go into other things. There are so many, the topic is quite wide about accountable leadership, but what I wanted first, we can share so many things. After that, of course, you go into your peers, holding each other accountable. One of the problems we live in a society we are in right now, we don't understand peer accountability. I do something, and guess what? No one actually questions me. Everyone knows how much I earn. I could be a civil servant, but guess what? I put up a multi-million house for our mother, I'm talking about like my friends, my brothers and sisters, and no one questions. Guess what? You're at a dinner table, and everyone is like, but you put up this house. No one questions. In my family, this is not a no one even will turn up at your banquet. No one, because there are questions you've not answered. After checking yourself, you have to start also checking your peers. Before you go into the whole hierarchy of how we are led, first, make yourself an accountable person. Thank you very much. Oh. Is this fine? No.
Thank you very much, Council. That was a wonderful presentation. I think everyone online can now see that it's getting hot in here. There's a lot of energy that is coming in. There is something that I once read again, that nature abhors a vacuum. If you don't do something, don't expect that nothing is going to happen. If you don't take off time to nurture your children, teach them the values, don't expect that someone else is going to do it. So I think I totally agree with Council. Now, we are running out of time, so I'm just going to quickly have one round of questions, and then we'll open up also to the audience to also ask a few questions, and then we shall wrap this up. But quickly, General, the journey of having these values, the journey of integrity is a lonely one. There are not so many people, and it hasn't just started now. It's from way back. Are there times when you felt you wanted to give up, seeing other people taking shortcuts? And if indeed you wanted to give up, how did you insist on your values? How did you make sure that you don't give up on these great values that you espouse, that everyone knows that you espouse as a leader?
Some things is just through, when you go through a reasoning process. Also through reading, when you get to understand the different successes that many different people all over the world have made. But also to a large extent, at least in my own case, at some point later in my life, I became a believer. So that I found that to be a reinforcement in my belief system. And there are some things you read, those who read, I'm a Christian believer, I read the Bible, I believe there are also writings in the Quran. Is a verse which says, what does it benefit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? A few days back, I looked at a clip by Denzel Washington. He must be a multi-millionaire. He's a famous actor. And he was giving a speech. And in his speech, he said he has never seen, or nobody has ever seen, a U-haul behind a hearse. The hearse is, where they carry coffin. U-haul in the United States, they have got a company called U-haul, where they can move your properties. So when someone is going to be buried, you never find a U-haul, or like in the Uganda, I don't know whether in a company which moves properties. You never go with your property. Absolutely not. So you have to keep reflecting, because there are going to be tough times when everything looks so dark. So growth as you meet challenges. Culture and tradition and family upbringing also helps. Schools certainly would also help. Churches and mosques would also help if they themselves are stable, if they have got a firm foundation. Because even as we are growing up, those of us who grew up in the, those of us who are like now in the 50s, in the 60s, those who are in the 70s, know that there is a time within our communities, within our traditions, when a person who would steal would be shunned in a society. In Ankole, in the 60s, there was a treasurer. He could not account for 10 cents. He had to resign, early 60s. So the culture which is established, the dominant culture, if it is a culture that wants people to be transparent, wants people to have honor, to have integrity, it also becomes a check. The problem you get is like right now, where many societies in Africa, many countries in Africa, the dominant culture is material wealth. If you don't have a good vehicle, a good car, and you are there flashing wealth around, it is like you have not succeeded. So the young people who operate in this environment, it's good that you, for example, in AYLF, you must build support networks so that even people who almost see darkness, who think that because of the culture that is dominant right now, of material wealth to be the measure of success, that they know that that's false. Because when you stick to values, eventually you'll have integrity, you'll be trusted, you'll be honorable, and you can also get the material wealth. So you'll get both. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter how much money any human being has, billionaire or millionaire, whatever they are. You cannot buy integrity. You cannot buy honor. It's just simply not possible. So stick to that. Knowing that, and two, as I finish, the time is short. There's nothing that is as satisfying as feeling confident and feeling fully aligned. Because within us, let me tell you, people who steal, people who do wrong, they are divided within themselves. You may not see it, but internally within themselves, they are divided. They know what is right, but they are not able to do it because they want shortcuts to whatever they achieve using wrong ways. But when you are doing right, when you believe in those values and you stick to them, you are fully aligned. That creates stability. That creates confidence in you because you get to be the very identity. You have the identity that God created us all to be. You're not divided. People who do all kinds of things, to steal, do all kinds of things, is because, one, they are divided. Two, there is a void within them. It's a psychological thing. It is like a clutch. Because many who use wrong methods to steal, to grab power, is because they think that that's what makes them whole. Power cannot make you whole. Money cannot make you whole. The only thing that can make you whole is something within you which you must cultivate and grow until a point when you feel you are fully aligned. And I can tell you that that is not in conflict with you getting the wealth and whatever else goes on in terms of the material world. So you'll have both. So AYLF guys, wherever you are, you are at, there's a gap. As you may well notice, you hear everywhere all over the world, they are talking about Africa becoming the next frontier in terms of development as a continent. That's not going to happen unless there are people of integrity who will be able to take leadership in the different spheres of life. So you need to fill that gap, therefore. But you will not be able to do that if you are tempted to take the shortcuts like many people do.
Thank you very much, General Muntu. That is a very wonderful response. Right Honorable Speaker, just a question to you. Were you mentored? Because telling us the story that you have just told us about how you had to cross, walk long distances, cross, different places when it's raining, the dew and everything. Were you mentored? Was there someone there who you looked up to? And after achieving what you have been able to achieve, are there people that you are now mentoring? And do you think it is important for people to get mentors, the young people who are here? Should it be a plan for anyone who wants to make it, to look for a mentor? And how can they be good mentees? I know that question has many components, but you'll find a way of responding to it.
Thank you. Is it still working? Thank you very much, moderator. Mentorship is crucial. When I was growing up, it was not a matter of one person. It was a community. And what was so amazing with the communities then was that all of them were hard on discipline. A neighbor disciplines your child just like you do. You get the point? If a neighbor or whoever comes and finds you misbehaving, it will deal with you. And then if there is time, it will report to your parents. If there is no time, it will just go. But you will have been disciplined. So we grew up in a society where molding young people was critical. But I think that's a responsibility we have all moved away from. You know, the communists used to say, and they still do, I think, that a child is born into this world like plain paper, blank. The parents are the ones who put the first print on that paper. Then the communities around the child will put the next print. Then the schools, the religious institutions, and by the time the right things are done, the character of this particular individual is shaped. So if you live in a community of thieves, there is no question, almost certain you'll become a thief. If you grow up in a family where a husband beats a wife, and there are boys in that family, you are manufacturing wife beaters. I have my colleagues here, you would be shocked, they beat their wives. Some are lawyers, some are what, big people. They beat their wives. Why? Because their fathers beat their mothers. But it's also about being strong-headed of the strong-headedness of the individual. You can break through all this, but the bigger percentage of them will not be able to break through. So I grew up with my father, who was a tough man by any standard. He's still alive, he's 91 now. But he was tough. These things of these days don't beat a child. Well, you are kidding. They'll beat you the next day, you can't walk. So you fear doing anything wrong. My father diverted all the paths to pass through our compound. This one coming from the east, diverted it to pass through the compound. That one like that. So we grew up serving, giving people water, greeting people, talking to them, asking how they were. My father taught us that there are no strangers. They are just brothers and sisters you have not met before. My mother taught me, as we were growing up, those children have no sex. There's no male child, there's no female child. You do everything together. Go for fetching water, we all go. That's how I was brought up. So don't look too far for mentorship. Start from where. If you're unfortunate not to have parents, adopt one where you look at. We have all had heroes in our lives. For example, I'll give you a short story about how I was inspired to become a lawyer. In 1969, my father got arrested. I was like 4 or 5 years, 5 years. My father got arrested. And why was he arrested? He had challenged the minister about some things I cannot go into detail. But something that used to look not very good in the area in terms of treatment, equal treatment to people. So he asked the minister to give him an answer. Why is this happening in our community? And then it started raining. And because of that, they had to say, the minister said, no. Say, sir, you are not going until you answer my question. You will not move. And if you try, you will see. And he pulled out his pump or a bicycle. And he wanted to assault the minister. He must. So they brought for the minister an umbrella. Now he got arrested. Now for us, we were at home. I was a little boy. So they take him. The next day, I come with my mother to see him. Now he's there sitting without a shirt in some small cell, prison, little thing, one block building. Sat outside. They brought food. We ate together because I didn't eat the whole evening. I was waiting for my father. So then, time for going home comes. I say, we are going. Then they say, no, your father is staying here. I say, then I'm staying. I'm not going without him. So they had to fool me around, and then immediately, that same day, they transferred him to Gulu. Long story short. His brother, who was then a police officer, was charged formally in court. His brother, who was then a police officer, goes to Soroti to hire a lawyer called, an Indian called Shah, I think. So I did not see my father for some time. So one day, my father shows up. And he tells me the story of the pleader who was brought from Soroti and argued his case, and the judge set him free. So I said, I want to be that pleader. The one who got my father out of this jail, I want to be like that person. That's my motivation for becoming a lawyer. Because later on I discovered that a pleader, because a pleader or something, it meant a lawyer. That's how I became a lawyer. So these small instructions we receive as small kids, the small little things that children have, are important. Somebody said, every day of our lives, we make deposits in the memory banks of our children. Not so much in the adults, but every single day of your life, you make deposits in the memory banks of your children. So it is that ends up evolving the characters you see in Mundu, in Olanya, and the other people who are in jail. Not for political reasons, but for stealing, and other things. That's the difference you see. Sharp difference. And I was challenging members of parliament. I said, we have a generation of parliamentarians that grew up like me. The difference is there. Because I am hard on some values, there are things I cannot do. Some people find it so easy to do. I won't sleep in my bed if I did that. But it doesn't make sense to other people. So society, somebody was talking about corruption and accountability. We need to generate the numbers for us to make that discussion meaningful. You go to church, the corrupt people occupy the front pews. They bring 100 million, they say, bless the hands that gives. May the Lord reward field where it has come. Knowing that the 100 million was stolen, so now it's asking God to help this man go and steal again and fill the gap. We don't have a society that resents corrupt people. God cannot be bribed, but that's how they are praying. Their prayers are not aimed at God. Their prayers are aimed at pleasing this corrupt fellow, so that he goes back and steals. We have a society where two mothers, one son has built a house, the other mother's child has not built it. He says, what's for you? What is wrong with you? The other boy has built for his mother a house. For you, what did you study? We have taken away these gods from our communities. We adore the corrupt people. When shall we have a time when you walk into a bar and a corrupt person walks and orders for beer and say, no, we are not drinking your booze. We are moving. We are relocating. You stay there with your filthy, ill-begotten. When are we going to reach that? The fellow comes with all his money, say, we are out of here. Let's sit outside. Let the man enjoy his product of grand theft. So if we're talking about mentorship and people we look up to, we all have little heroes in our mind, people we respect, people we want to be like. There are people who want to be like thieves. They're there. But I'm urging you that as a community of people, let's choose our heroes properly. Even if the person is not there. One of my heroes is Jesus Christ, by the way. Even if that person, the mentor thing, would they have done it this way? How would they have done it? That, again, is an inspiration and mentorship for how you conduct yourself. Every time you're at crossroads with issues, you have to take decisions on. So don't look for, I need a mentor. I need a mentor. No. There will always come. It might be a person. It might be a book. It might be a movie. It might be something in your memory. That's what mentors. That's what shapes you. That's what ignites the fire. That's what puts fires in your belly. And nothing stops you. You just keep going because you are convinced your entire body system is aligned with it. You just move.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for that wonderful response. We are running out of time, so I need to wrap this up. I will just quickly ask Council Alice Blezevic to just comment, because there are ladies, there are young women who are online, who are wondering, how has she made it, you know? Are there certain tips that you can give, maybe one or two? In the interest of time, I'll really request you to wrap it up. I thought we would be able to have a longer discussion, but we have really run out of time. So for the benefit of those who want to know, the ladies who are out there who are saying, you know, how can a young lady out there make it? Could you please respond to those quickly, and then we shall wrap this up.
Sorry, since audience are wearing masks, pardon? Do I have a? I will kindly request to skip that question because I have a platform where I'm able to respond to that efficiently. Am I loud, right? Good. I just wanted to strictly relate to this the topic for today. Like I've told you, I have that platform. I've shared my story many times. Something that is really taking me that from the previous speakers that I wanted to share. Again, about how our contributions, our individual contributions actually influence our communities and the young people. I personally took a journey I had told you earlier that I was a very frustrated young person leaving university. That was 18 years ago now. And yeah, I was quite frustrated it's not working still. I was frustrated as a young person. I decided to be the change that I wanted to be, because at that time I was like, should I just leave the country? What should I do? I had a very good job. The law firm I work for is brilliant. It's the best place to work at. But it's a bubble. It's a real, real bubble. When you enter the offices, you're like, okay, it's nice. The work I do is excellent, brilliant. I do a lot of international transactions. But then the society it struggles, does not relate to the kind of life that I wanted. I just decided to say, okay, what's my contribution to society? And I just used to wonder, how can I contribute? So I joined Rotary as a young person, and I wanted to just give back to the community. But through that journey, one of the things I learned, and also to say what the speaker as well, is how important the influence we have as human beings right from the age of 0. From the age 0 to the age like 5, you understand, who we are, what has influenced us at that level, age 0 to 5, is who we'll be, until you actually unconsciously decide and say, oops, this is the person I am, and this is how I was made. The reason why we struggle with the leaders we have is because, by the way, they also have no clue. They have no clue why they do things in a certain way. Like Honorable Speaker has said, things were printed on their heads, on their brains. So when they act, you could have there's leadership by status, position, right? They appoint you to be a leader. But that does not take away the fact how you are influenced as a child. So what am I trying to say is that you're still young. It could be a bit too late, but first to understand who you are, why do you do things the way you are. The things you're complaining about right now about leaders, guess what? You're going to do the same exact things, because who has nurtured you? Our leaders right now are the ones who have nurtured you. In fact, Honorable was asking, when I go to Makerere now, it's absurd. But who has nurtured those young people, Honorable, at the university? What has been your contribution to those young people?
I go there and I see what they do.
So I always ask, for me, my question is, what have I done, you understand, what is my responsibility to this young generation? What have I done? And what can I do? Those are usually my questions. I'm lucky to have young children, 5 and 7. I'm jealously guarding them to make sure that the print I write on that. But also you as where you are. Of course, you're at the age where you are. Your brain, your mindset, the way you're wired. If you've been, a very good example is, do you know why we drive zigzag on our roads? It's because from childhood, your parents have been driving you zigzag. The taxis you take a zigzag. The borders you take zigzag. So of course, when you get into a car, you're going to drive zigzag. If you understand, I like actually the way even Major General has talking about it. Some of these things, we struggle with them because we don't understand the genesis, why we are in a society we are in. And what we can do, we always think, the World Bank is going to give us a lot of money to fight corruption. Corruption can't go away until we as individuals understand why we do these kind of things. I also don't want this whole thing to be, these people do steal. There are people who steal, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our aunties, and what. The question is, when your mother steals, do you say, oh, mommy, I know the secret, but let's go to Paris? Guess what? Anyone who knows me, I will speak up and say, this is horrible. We'll have a chat with my mother. And that is exactly what I want my children to be accountable to my children. Like, mommy, these things don't make sense. You are in the newspaper for this and this. It doesn't make sense. I want that. I want young people. I want you guys to come and ask me that. But this was not making sense. But everyone is too polite to say the right things. When I talk about it, they're like, oh, Alice, you're crazy, right? And I decided I'm not going to keep quiet. I'll speak truth to power. And I'll ask the difficult questions. We have to understand and answer difficult questions. And this is still... is going to do it for you, by the way? No one will do it. It's you simply to say, so-and-so has invited us, but these guys' operations are not, they don't add up. This is your business. Most of the businesses in Uganda we have, if you carried out some kind of accountability, they don't add up. Someone makes, you understand, someone owns this, like, let me say, resorts, but then they don't add up with how it started, the money he's earned, and guess what? They come up to mentor young people, and these young people are like, yeah, it's so easy to make this money. But the journey does not add up from beginning to the end. You have to be worried about those people. Who is mentoring? Who is actually influencing you? You understand? And reject it. Be very, very open. Reject whatever you think that actually is not, I guess, good for the kind of person you want to be, or that you want to be. But the more we accept this mediocrity in life, actually that's another thing that is also I'm very, very passionate about, is the reason we are in a state where everything goes is because we have accepted. Alice Namuli, I have accepted that the LC1 on my village is zigzag human being, and I've accepted him to be my leader. If a majority of us, a critical mass of us, stand up and say, we will not accept this LC1, we will not accept this MP, we will not accept this LC5. First of all, how do even these leaders turn up? How do they turn up? They turn up because you and I, who you think, okay, I have these kind of values and I have this to share in the world. First of all, you don't offer yourself for leadership. And guess who is? One time I offered myself for an LC1, and the reason why, because the former chairperson of a border stage stood up and wanted to be the LC3, LC5. And after that, I knew he was going to be the mayor. After that, he's going to be the MP. And I just imagined him, governing that border stage near our office. I'm like, of course, when he becomes an MP, he's going to be the same thing. How can I even expect anything different? And I was like, I have to get myself into this mud. Come up from my white high horse, go down and get into the mud. Because I wanted my community to be led the way I want to be led. You understand? Again, it goes back to me. How do I want to be led? How do I want my leaders to lead me? Who am I as a person? And first of all, when I'm leading, who am I influencing? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think in the future we should give these sessions more time than we have today. So I want to thank the panelists. I want to thank Major General Mugisha Muntu for taking off your time. We are grateful. I'd like to thank the Right Honorable Speaker, first for the presentation that you made, and also taking off time to be here on this panel. We would like to thank you for the words of wisdom that you have given us. I would like to thank you, Councillor Alice Namuli, for the time, and also for inspiring the people out there. You are very passionate. Someone can just see that you are passionate. I can imagine what would happen if you are the ombudsman, the IGG of this country.
I would be assassinated.
Yeah.
First day one.
I think many people would have to relocate to other countries. Yeah, so I would like to thank you. We are so grateful. Let me tell you, we don't pay any of these people to be here, but they take off their time to come and speak to us. So it means that we should not take these things for granted. A lot of time has been set aside, and I pray that we shall have further discussions online. Unfortunately, we were not able to have questions here because of time, but I want to thank you very, very much for taking off time. I want to leave you with a quote by Sir Winston Churchill. He once said that, "Sure I am today that we are masters of our fate. The task which has been set before us is not above our strength. Its pangs and toils are not above our endurance. For as long as we have hope in our cause and unconquerable will to succeed, victory will not be denied us." I thank you. I want to invite Nathan to come and give us closing remarks quickly, and then we shall be out of here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's give Andrew Tayewa a round of applause. I'm going to give just closing remarks in 2 minutes, and we will be out of here. First of all, I want to give us some statistics. We told you from the onset that this was a satellite venue, but our people who are watching us were not here. We've had about 36 watch parties, each with more than 10 people. and about 72 individual logins. So we are very certain that about 400 young people in 7 countries have listened to us this morning and afternoon. Our speakers, we are very honored for the words of wisdom that you have given to us. But I also want to extend my thanks to the Office of the Speaker of Parliament. They have been very supportive, and Parliament of Uganda for continuing to partner with young people. This event is a precursor to the National Prayer Breakfast. So those of us, tomorrow, please tune into your televisions and be part of the big event, which is the National Prayer Breakfast. Our watch parties, we are going to end the stream. Please continue these discussions. Continue, talk about it with your friends before you depart. After here, we are going to go for a photo shoot, for a photo with the speaker and the retired general and our mentor, Alice. I also want to recognize the presence of the chairperson of the National Youth Council, Eyeru Jacob. Yes, he's here. We shall take, he's really supportive of AYLF. We shall take a group photo together at the reception, after which we will head for lunch in the restaurant, which is just opposite. Can you allow me say a prayer and we close today? Jesus, we thank you for today. We thank you for the wisdom and the knowledge that we have received through our mentors and our friends. Give us the courage and the strength to live up to these values that we aspire to live to, and help us to continue to grow this leadership potential and journey that we have started today. In Jesus' name we prayed and believed. Amen. So we will just walk with the guidance of the protocol team and go to, so they will guide us on how to move. We have been offered a good place at the reception. We will spend the reception down. Oh, we are going up? The media person. Okay, since the sun has come down, we are going to be up here. So we shall let, of course, our guests just move ahead of us. The rest of us will follow after. Yes, we shall give our guests a few seconds. Remain seated where you are. Remain seated where you are. Once they exit the door, then we can follow slowly and get set for the photo. After which, we will all head down to the restaurant for lunch, and we will receive our coupons along that way. Yes, I hope you have ended the stream. Gatete, have you? Oh, please, thank you very much, our online audience. Yes, so after the guests have made their way out of the door, we shall all just move